12 things teachers used to do that wouldn't fly today. 1. Giving harsh punishments. A paddle with holes would hang on the classroom wall. It was a reminder for kids not to break the rules. There were plenty of other punishments. A kid had to put their nose in a circle on the chalkboard. Some had to write, "I will not talk in class" 100 times. The teacher confiscated the notes the kids tried to pass. They would read the entire thing aloud to the class. 2. Leaving students unattended. A teacher could leave children alone in the classroom. One student would be left at the front of the classroom. They would watch over their peers. They'd write the names of those who misbehaved on the board. 3. Sitting down and teaching. A teacher could sit down the entire day. The student would form a line before the teacher's desk. They had to wait for their turn to ask a question. Students would also run errands for the teacher. 4. Having students grade papers. Teachers didn't have to grade papers themselves. Students would switch papers with their classmates to grade. Then they called out their scores, so the entire class could hear them. 5. Smoking on the school grounds. All students knew the teachers who smoked. The smoking lounge was often in clear sight. Some teachers lit up as soon as kids went for lunch. 6. Giving students birthday spankings. Birthday spankings were common practice. The teacher would call the birthday students up. They'd put the student over their knees. Then they'd give them an exaggerated spanking. 7. Organizing a sleepover in the library. Kids in elementary school were encouraged to read books. If they read enough, they had a sleepover in the library. They brought sleeping bags and slept on the floor. In the morning, they had griddles out to make pancakes. 8. Taking students to their home. A teacher could take the class to camp in their backyard. It usually happens after the last day of school. The group could go to see a movie in the theater. Then they'd stay up late telling ghost stories. 9. Rewarding students with McDonald's. A teacher could drive kids to McDonald's for lunch. It was a reward for good work in class. 10. Letting students play with chemicals. A science teacher could bring a beaker full of mercury. Students would stick fingers in it to feel how dense it was. Each student would get their own drop of mercury. They could play with it at their desks. 11. Punishing students for being sick. If a student was unwell, they couldn't leave the class. The teacher could decide that they didn't look sick. The student could even be punished for lying. 12. Throwing students' things on the floor. A student's desk couldn't be messy. Otherwise, the teacher would flip it over. They'd dump out all of the contents on the floor. The student was then forced to pick everything up.